Hey guys, Joe here. The guy who was sick and is now shooting on a Monday. I got some roll of tissue paper here, or toilet paper, but it works both, you know. Unused, have to stress. But haven't been feeling too hot. There's some allergies, just sinus headaches, and all the mess. But I'm here to talk about UFC 307. Sorry for the delay, everyone, but let's get this going. So enough talk. Let's get to the fights. Main event: Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree. Horrid matchmaking. Number 8 guy. You know, why him? Well, because this guy will stand and strike with him. Regardless, though, he actually put on a pretty, gutsy performance. I think he abandoned his kicks too early, but, man, he came out swinging hard. A lot of aggression. It might have gotten the first round. I personally thought the low kicks and jabs of Pereira was winning him that round. But round 2, Rountree drops him after Pereira misses a high kick, and he launches a counter right back. Round 3, though, he's starting to slow down. He's just getting eaten up by jabs. His nose breaks. Apparently he had a cut on his nose prior, and it got opened up pretty early. But it looked like another cut, and it kind of popped. Like, it almost seemed like the cartilage in his nose exploded and was starting to make another nose. It was horrible and awesome at the same time. Round 4, Pereira is just destroying the gas tank with round kicks to the body. And, excuse me, he's destroying with round kicks to the body. Or not round kicks, straight kicks, excuse me. Just depleting him. A lot of big shots. A lot of, he'll step in, tie clinch knee. It was really fun seeing him, kind of smell the blood in the water, go full on jaws on him. And 2 big body shots end with an uppercut as Khalil Rountree is falling. And that's how they stopped the fight. It was a great fight with horrible matchmaking, but honestly, the fight was really good. Khalil Rountree, for sure, really stopped a lot of doubters in, the match. I gave him no chance. A lot of people had him up 2-1. I had Pereira up 2-1, but it was a little close, so, you got to do what you got to do. Good foreshadowing for that 2-1 that, Khalil Rountree. I disagreed with that, and I disagreed with a lot of judging on this card. So why don't we get into that?
Shut up, just shut up, shut up, shut up, just shut up, shut up, shut up, just shut up, shut up.
But let's talk about the co-main event. Raquel Pennington defending her title against Julianna Pena. Raquel, I kind of like her meat and potatoes kind of style. It's like very blue collar, hard worker. And the judges gave it to Pena. I'm gonna level with you guys. I have no idea how judges thought Pena won. I think it was an incredibly clear 3 rounds to 2, because rounds 2 and 3 were absolutely Pena. Sure, you got me. Rounds 1, Pennington won. I don't see really much of a discussion for Pena winning that, and definitely rounds 4 and 5 were all Pennington. I have no idea what the judges were doing or watching for this fight. It was pretty bad. Dare I say, this one was worse than the fight before it. But I'm going to talk about both fights in one segment. I'm consolidating here because, oh my god. Horrible stuff. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I hope that isn't too gross. But Pena is so cringe. Oh my god. So cringe. She makes Izzy look bearable, is what I'll say. I think she makes Israel Adesanya look bearable by comparison. Because Izzy just comes across as a really cringy dork. There's that thing, most fighters, I feel like about 80% of them, I don't drink anymore. I drink Diet Dr. Pepper and tea and water, I don't drink alcohol anymore. But, you have that whole mentality of I want to get a beer with that guy. There's a lot of fighters out there I'd want to get a beer with. Izzy has always been I don't want to get a beer with him because he's just gonna be unbearable and like a dork. Like, I feel like, me personally, I'm too cool of a guy to hang out with that dork. That's just me. Someone's probably in the comments gonna roast me, saying like, you're not that cool. You're wearing an Outer Worlds shirt. You got a dorky Dark Souls poster in the back. That's not dorky. Dark Souls is awesome. Outer Worlds, okay, you might have me there. You know, you got a Persona 5 tattoo. Like, oh my god. So, but still, I still feel like even with all that, I'm too cool to hang out with Izzy. And my god, Pena makes me go, wow, between one or the other, Izzy, let's go hit up the bar scene. Let's do it. You know, afterwards, she called out Amanda Nunes instead of Kayla Harrison, who, spoiler, won earlier in the night and was for a number one contender fight. She won it. And she calls out Amanda Nunes. And to me, if she would have called out Kayla, you could have like cut a hard promo on Kayla. Like, Kayla, you say you got more finishes than I got wins, but I got more belts and bigger promotions than you. You could have done something, cut like a really cool heel promo, you know, because Kayla is coming in as a face. Honestly, her hype has kind of led to her getting a good fan base. It seems like, you know, everyone's kind of, mostly because everybody goes, oh, she's so good, like, I gotta jump on her fan base, so I look like I'm smart. No offense to Kayla Harrison fans. I'm a relative Kayla Harrison fan. I liked her in PFL. I like Manchenko more, but Kayla Harrison, I do like. She's a very likable person, I think. She can be a little cringe, too, but whatever. 135 is kind of a cringe division anyway, let's be honest. But Kayla Harris, but she doesn't. She calls out Amanda Nunes, the person she beat, with Wine Mom Boxing, and then when they had the rematch, Amanda Nunes proceeded to beat the ever-loving crap out of her in one of the most destructive fights I've ever seen, with probably the hardest single strike I've ever seen a woman in a woman's fight before, that literally made Pena's feet, because she was leading with her head, windmilling, takes a counter shot, a counter right hook, I believe, and her legs, which were behind her, go unbelievable. The physics of that is hilarious. It was like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Hilarious. Sounds like a jilted ex-lover. Julianna Pena is so cringe, and gets gifted a win. It's a horrible judge's decision. Speaking of that, Aldo got robbed, the greatest fighter of all time, as I've said many times on the show. He's showing up, and he's coming out, you know, taking on hot prospect Mario Batista. On the feet, he's torching Batista on the feet. Batista's landing some shots here and there, but for the most part, Batista is kind of getting eaten up. Aldo will have bursts of energy where he's like, okay, we got about time. I don't want to kill my gas tank, or if I get taken down, I get taken down. He can't do anything with it. And would just batter him with like hard combination and hooks. It was awesome. He was parry kicks and then kick him back. He did that a couple times, and I was like, you know, it was wonderful to watch. And he would get pressed to the cage repeatedly because Batista's trying to take him down, and he couldn't take him down, so he would hold him against the cage, and then would get off of the cage, go back to beating him up in the striking. DC, horrible on commentary, starts saying that Aldo's losing because he's getting gassed. Wasn't true at all. And the judges gave Batista a win. It's almost as if I'm not implying that this is the case, I'm making a joke here, but it's almost as if they were listening to DC and watching the fights. I think those judges need to get canned. They gotta get canned or something. It's horrible. It's horrible stuff. I don't understand. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss for words. I think Aldo cleanly won. Like, it's not like the Merab fight where nothing happened but Merab holding Aldo against the cage. That's all that happened. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, all that happened was a bunch of Holly homing. You know, like, you got to give it to the guy who's in the Holly home position. So, sure, you know, but here, there was Holly homing, but there was more as well. And for me, I feel like if that's all your opponent can do, then, and he's not even able to secure it for extended periods of time, like he's not holding it for 90% of the round, he's holding it for random chunks of like, he's holding it probably total like 40% of the round, less than half. Majority of the time is Aldo winning on the striking and stuffing takedowns, making it look easy. Then I kind of have to, I don't understand. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Maybe this is an Aldo bias. I have my rose tinted glasses, you know, paid for by all the money that he embezzled, allegedly. My favorite fighter ever, second favorite fighter ever, ladies and gentlemen. Boss Rutten, who's right here. I have a poster of him hanging right here. I think I've showed it in some videos. Yeah, he's my favorite fighter ever. Aldo's my number 2. But, I mean, maybe it's my, you know, my bias for Aldo, the greatest fighter ever. I don't know. But I thought this was alarmingly bad. You know, so I have a random question. Can we just not go to Utah anymore? Like, I feel like once you've done such a bad job with judging and refereeing, because the judges were terrible, the refs were terrible, just not a good night for everybody. I feel like at that point, you know, when it messes up something on this colossal of a level, there's only one viable option, and I kind of get reminded of the movie Aliens. You gotta blast it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. And I think how you do that in the context of the sport is Utah just isn't allowed to have fights anymore. You guys ruined something fun for everybody. Thank you. And for your punishment, we're not bringing you fights. Not until you clean that crap up. Rest of the card, Roman Dolidze. He took Kevin Holland down in the first round, and in a scramble, Kevin Holland broke a rib. Kevin Holland was trying to continue. His corner wasn't too convinced, and his corner called it. I gotta be honest, I don't think that's a Kevin Holland fault. I think there's no fault. No one's at fault here. You get an injury, and me, if I was a coach, I wouldn't want my fighter risking something much worse. You know what I mean? So I'm 110% okay with that, personally. Kayla Harrison, she had some trouble actually, but got a win very clean against Caitlin Vieira. She had a hematoma from Caitlin Vieira was actually doing some fun things. She was throwing bows in the clinch. You know, whenever Kayla would try to tie her up and try to work the clinch and get her to the ground, Caitlin Vieira just said, none of that. Started throwing some bombs. And I think that's kind of a fun, if not, maybe not the smartest game plan to have against Kayla, but it was kind of fun. Joaquin Buckley KO'd Wonderboy, making me very sad. Yasmin Lucindo beat Marina Rodriguez by split decision. Alex Hernandez beat Austin Hubbard by decision, who's a boy of mine. I like Austin Hubbard a lot. I like all those tricky Trevor Whitman strikers. Cesar Almeida beat Ihor Pretoria by decision. Ryan Spann beat OSP very quickly by guillotine, and I think that's OSP's last fight. I haven't seen anything, but I believe I remember reading that. I think me and Carl talked about that before the show. Tisha Pennington, she beat Carla Esparza with Esparza retiring afterwards. It was kind of a fun throwback, you know, in a sense for me, because Carla Esparza, hats off to you in retirement. You know, from the INC, from me, best of luck out there in retirement. You sadly, I'm not going to pretend you're one of my, I'm not going to be that guy and like suck up, you know, of course, but you mean a lot to this sport, and you're a legend for sure in the sport. No matter what, you should be in the Hall of Fame, because it's really hard winning the title back. It's even harder winning it almost a decade later. Very, very impressive, honestly. I'm just not going to watch that fight. I think you understand. So, I asked this is my little question I want to ask you guys, because I've been rambling for a little while. Turns out the sick guy wants to talk a lot. Don't know why. But judges suck, refs suck. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest here. Is this a problem we can fix? And if we can fix it, can we do that by just avoiding places with bad refs and judges and commissions and stuff? Like, what do we do here? I bet this question, right? I know a lot of people who are hardcore MMA fans. I know a lot of people who are casual MMA fans. If I ask all of them if they would want to be a judge, and like, hey, you're going to get paid, like, let's say, gosh, I don't know, $250 American to for a night, watch some fights. Sure, You know, watch a card live. We'll pay you that much money and judge a fight. You know, would you do it? Everyone's going to say yes, but you don't pick the casual fans to do it. You pick the hardcore guys. I think me and Carl talked about this on the preview show. Maybe it was on INC Uncaged. Plug, it's on the Patreon, exclusive content. But I, in a heartbeat, if I got offered a position to be a judge, I'd do that in a heartbeat. You know, and I would post on Twitter why my scorecard was that way. You know, I think there needs to be that. I think there needs to be why. Like, you need to say why. I think maybe that's something. I think we need open scoring. I think that's something PFL does infinitely better than the UFC and all that. PFL has open scoring. It's awesome. I just don't know. Oh, needed that. I was having trouble talking. It doesn't sound like it, but I was. I think, I don't know. It's just kind of it's getting ridiculous. And here we are in the year of our Lord 2024, and it's still just horrendous. When I have talked with people since then in person, that's all we've been able to talk about is, wow, that was some horrible judging. It's usually that, or have you seen Uzumaki? You should watch it. It's amazing. It's been like laying down, resting on my phone on HBO Max watching it. It's great. Little plug. If you like horror, it's a peak. It's been like, I just don't know. So I'm asking you, our lovely audience, who is very intelligent. I'm not just blowing smoke up you guys, but you guys are very intelligent. You guys are very smart. You guys change my opinion in some ways. Half the time you agree with me, and that's usually when I think you're smartest. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You guys are, no, in all seriousness, you guys are, I always think you guys are very intelligent, hardcore fans. Even if you admit, oh, I'm a little more casual nowadays, I like watching you guys for X, Y, and Z. Totally fine. I mean, but I'm genuinely curious what we need for judging reformation, or to reform these judges and maybe get fights scored accurately. Because it always blows my mind that everyone in the world can agree that was a horrible judging call. Like, everyone in the world practically can agree, yeah, so fighter A beat fighter B, but the three guys in charge of doing it, two of them thought fighter B won. Like, how does that math work out? The odds make zero sense. And so clearly there is something horribly, horribly, horribly wrong with our judging process that I know we've been talking about it forever, but please, God, is there any kind of movement we can start to do this? But that's it for me, folks. I've been talking for quite a long time. Probably should rest the voice, but hey, here we are. I'm excited to see you guys. I hope you're excited to see me, and I'll be back this weekend. And plus, me and Carl got some cool stuff for PFL and coming down the pipe as well. And I'm gonna try and rest my voice so I can shoot a retro review today. Even if I sound like this, I'm probably gonna shoot it. So I'm Joe with the INC, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a good one. Bye.